For the month of March 2025, we did over $132,000. And for this video, I wanted to break down everything and do sort of a case study. That way I can show you guys exactly what it's like in the middle of scaling up a brand, breaking down all of the costs and the profit margins, and show you guys exactly how lucrative a Shopify business is in 2025. So let's get right into it. You can see here for the last full month, we had $132,667 in sales. You'll probably also notice that it is scaled up quite a bit towards the middle of the month and then tapers off towards the end of the month, which I'll be covering the reasons in this video. So we had a returning customer rate of 7.71%, which is not too bad, something I do want to work on though. We had 1,916 orders fulfilled, a total of 1,626 orders. There was also an average order value of $77.07, total sales by channel. Most of it came from online store, but their Facebook and Instagram shop is linked on to the Instagram and Facebook account, so people can check out there. So there's 3.5K in sales. There was also a conversion rate for the month of 3.16%, which is pretty good because the Shopify industry standard is 1 to 3%, so it's just above that. But I think that the industry standard is going on a bunch of ecom brands, not specifically ones that are running such targeted paid ads. Therefore, I think like the average conversion for this type of business is probably around 3%. I would really like to get this up to 4% or 5%. And I think that there's a lot of low-hanging fruit to be able to actually do this. Total sessions on the store for March are 48,082. Also, this store is only being ran in the United States currently, so it is not worldwide or the top 5 countries. All of the ads are only being targeted in the United States, just for your information. Let's break it down week by week and I'll show you guys what happened here. So we're gonna go March 1st through March 8th. So the total sales over this period was 17,635, and you can see later on around March 6th, we start to scale this up quite a bit. All right, so if you filter that on Facebook advertising, which is the only platform that we are advertising on currently, we're not doing any Snapchat or TikTok. I think Meta has the best conversion still. Of course, this is product dependent. I do think that we'll branch out a little bit later, but I'm the best at Meta, so it's where we're going to spend the money. You can see here for this week, March 1st through March 8th, there was a total spend of $5,298. Going back and looking at this week, it gave us a little bit over a 3 return on ad spend, which is pretty solid, but I'd like to see obviously 4 or 5, and the higher the better. During this time, especially at the beginning of the week, it was a lot more of testing than it was scaling, so seeing which ads are performing the best. You can see the cost per result on the main campaign was $23.58 cost per purchase, which is not too bad for a selling price of around $65 to $75. That is also not including upsells. And you can see the CPMs here are $11.05. Some really good cost per link click as well, under $1 at 91 cents. And you're probably wondering how the CPMs and the cost per link click and the cost per purchase is so low. I will be covering that a little bit later on as well. So let's go ahead and break down the second week of what happened after identifying some promising ad creatives. So the total sales over this week, so March 8th through March 15th, was $36,917. If you go back onto the ad manager and go for those dates, then you see a little bit more of a scale up. So $7,254 spent, but not really fully scaled up yet. You can see our cost per link click came down as well at 73 cents, around the same CPMs of $10.99 or so, but the cost per purchase did come down this week. So at $18.45, and the second funnel was at $19.85. So you can see here during this week of a little bit of scaling, there was also ad optimization that was going on. So Facebook was able to identify more ideal customers for the business. Overall, a really good week in terms of ROAS at $37,000 sold, and only around $7,254 in ad spend. That gives us like a ROAS of around 5, which is really where you want to be at. It's a very solid ROAS and very high profit margins in that range. You can see here that most of the days were pretty consistent around 5,000, and then a couple jump ups here and there, March 14th, March 15th. So if we break down the next week, we've got $54,000 in sales. So this is when it's really starting to scale up a little bit more. And if you go back onto Facebook here for March 15th to the 22nd, the total spend was $7,906. So still not really scaling week over week, a little bit more here and there. What you notice about this week is that there's a crazy lowered cost per result at $13 on the main funnel and $15 on the other one. So the ads in the pixel are really starting to optimize, which is why I talk about all the time how you have to run ad spend for more than just 1 or 2 days. I see a lot of beginners start off with their Shopify store and they start running at $50 a day, $25 a day, and then they only let it run for like 1 to 3 days, and it's just not optimized at all. And it also depends on the day of the week, because there's some people that will purchase your product on Monday but not on Saturday. So giving it at least that full 7 days is really helpful. CPMs are still hovering around $10 here. Cost per link click dramatically dropped at 0.6, which really helped out with the cost per result because it is a great product. So overall, getting more eyeballs on that in that advertisement optimizing a little bit really helped lower that cost per purchase. During this week, there's a day that's around $8,000 in revenue, and then it kind of flatlines around, I'd say, like an average of $7,000. But after this, if we move on to the 22nd, and we'll just go to the 31st here, so a little over a week, it goes down a little bit to 40,000 in total sales, and then you can see a massive drop off here down to about $2,000 a day. Now, if you pull up the Facebook ad spend during that time from those dates, it's $10,000 in 631. So what was going on here was we were testing more ad creatives, spending more money to test out which creatives are going to be performing even better the next month. And you can see here the CPMs didn't really change much. The cost per link click didn't really change too much either. The cost per purchase did go up week over week, but the main issue and probably the biggest question here is why did it drop off so much? Well, the problem with this was the inventory and the supply. We ran out of certain sizes of the top selling products, therefore we could not sell the most common sizes, and then people were not checking out. Some people were opting in for different sizes that they normally wouldn't purchase, but the only reason for this drop off was just the inventory, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. And if you're wondering what product or what brand this actually is, I'll be talking about that later on in the video as well. But don't skip ahead because we're going to be covering some pretty important information about ad creatives in general. Let's go back onto Facebook and actually just pull up the entire month. For March 1st through March 31st, the total spend amount was $28,705. So the month ended at a really, really nice ROAS. And a lot of people ask me, what is the ad strategy that you do? Is there anything special? Are there any secret tips and tricks? I hate to break it to you guys if you don't already know, but there's not really any secret ad strategy. And what I mean by that is there's no special buttons to click. There's no extreme lookalike audience. There's no interest targeting that you need to do that no one's telling you. All of the social media platforms right now are pushing everyone really, really broad. They want you to do everything the way that they think their algorithm will push your ads the best, right? So like less manual campaigns, less interest targeting. They really just want everyone to go broad. So sorry to break it to you, there's not an ad strategy or a button to push to make your ads perform better. But one thing that is super, super important in terms of the overall ad strategy that I don't really see too many people talking about is the use of image ads, carousel ads versus video ads. I see so many people just preaching about video ads. No one's ever talking about image ads, but really the truth is if you have a product that you are able to actually advertise with an image ad effectively, like the use of the product or how it works doesn't really have to be shown on video. Image ads are 3 times cheaper on average than video, especially on Facebook, and carousel ads even do better. I've been ripping image ads for such a long time and not that many people talk about them. I think they're super underrated and they're a lot easier to make than video. Therefore, you can test way more creatives way quicker and find your winners. And then later on down the road, if you want to dabble into video, by all means do it, but image ads are kind of underrated and they're super powerful. And people are asking me all the time, how do you get image ads so quickly? How do you crank out 10 a day like you do? We don't have like a secret sauce or a secret touch or anything like that. We'll basically just go on Creative OS, find an ad template that I like and could be implemented with the brand, and then I'll just copy it and do Canva or Figma. So you just click on export and then I'll click use template for new design. It gives you the example and then an editable template, which you just replace with your own image and copy, and then you just crank it out, adjust as needed, and you're good to go. Let's talk about some inventory constraints for a bit, because building a brand that you are actually creating custom products for and custom SKUs, I think it's really important, even if you're a beginner watching this video, to get some inside look on some of the issues that might arise even after you scale. Because this doesn't only apply for an e-commerce brand where you have custom products and a custom supplier, but it also applies to people that are dropshipping. Even if you're dropshipping, it's not just unlimited inventory, especially with what's going on with the tariffs and everything like that. You really do need to know how important inventory management is. But with that being said, the issue is that the product is so popular and was able to scale so quickly, and there's also multiple SKUs because it's different sizes, that since they are custom and scaled up so quickly, there's not historical forecasting of the demand of this product, because you don't want to order too much in bulk and then you're sitting on a bunch of product that you didn't know would sell. And it's fine if you order too little, but you just have to wait for more inventory. So that's why you see a massive drop off here. We did get another inventory shipment the next month to cover some of those more popular sizes. And we also have another order of 15,000 units coming in. So we're gonna be able to scale that up pretty fast. The summary for this is just keep in mind of your inventory. It's great when you get sales and you find a winning ad creative or something like that, but when you scale it really quickly without communicating to your supplier or having that inventory on hand, you're gonna run into issues. You're gonna have to pause your ads and wait for more inventory to restock. And this does apply to dropshipping too. They don't just have unlimited inventory in their warehouse at all times. So it's really important to keep that forecasting in mind in the demand that's coming in, and then relay that that onto your suppliers so they know what to expect in the future to be able to fulfill all of these orders. Another thing that's very important that you need to think about when you're scaling either a dropshipping store or a custom product yourself is that you need to put a lot of focus on email marketing. So email marketing should attribute to about 30% of your revenue coming in. That is how powerful email marketing is. The reason for that is because when you're spending money on Facebook, Google, TikTok, advertising, whatever, there's a lot of people that come onto your website and they go into the checkout and then they don't purchase from you. And then that spend essentially goes bye-bye because they're probably not going to remember your brand. They're not going to remember the ad they saw. They're probably not going to remember the product either. But if you capture their email, then you can reach back out to them and win that spend back, which is very, very important because ad spend is expensive nowadays. So you don't want any of it to leak out. And the best way to do that is email marketing. If you are in the middle of creating your brand or scaling up a brand, I really recommend using Omnisend. The features that they have, how it links with Shopify, is extremely intuitive and they cater to all levels, which is super nice. Like whether you're a beginner and you're just starting off and you're getting your email flows set up, or you're doing $500,000, $1 million a month, the features that they have on their platform just cater to all of it. Another reason that I really like them is because their pricing is a lot better. So there are other competitors out there that charge you a ton of money per month for features that you don't even use, especially as a beginner. With Omnisend, I'll save up to like 60% per feature that I'm using compared to another email marketing company. It's really nice because you can set up everything yourself with all the templates. So basically everything that you would need in the beginning just to get your email marketing journey started. And then past that, there's more features for advanced and scaled up brands. It's really simple because I just go into automation, click on create workflow, and it's like, oh, I need to get a new cart abandonment email. Then there's a bunch of templates for it. So abandoned checkout, abandoned cart. If I wanted to abandon checkout and wanted to customize it and really fully set it up and optimize it for my brand, then they've got this template already laid out for you. So everything in terms of the timing, so it waits for 11 hours, your cart misses you, you get this email, wait for 12 more hours, and then try to win them back with a 15% off your entire cart coupon. Super intuitive. So if you want to change this, you can change the subject line, pre-header, everything that goes in terms of the content of the email. You just click on edit content, switch out your logo, change the verbiage. You can add, products in here. You can add buttons. You can do everything that you want to fully customize that email flow. Email marketing is definitely something that you want to keep in mind because the moment you start running ads and getting traffic onto your store, you don't want it to leak. You want to capture as much as possible. Getting this set up during our scaling process is really beneficial moving forward once we receive all of our inventory because we're going to win back so much more and increase our revenue just like that because of email marketing. If you want to use Omnisend to set up your email flows, use the templates, or even just migrate from a different app, I'll link them down below and you also get a special discount for signing up. So what are my next steps for this brand? There's a lot that needs to be done and fully optimized to scale this up to where I want it to be. The first and biggest issue that we're running into right now is the inventory management. So we need better forecasting systems set up. We also need to be ordering in bulk to get some discounts and try to avoid some of the tariff charges. And we're moving our inventory to a 3PL. So we're actually using Zendrop's 3PL because they gave us a really competitive quote. I know that this product sells very well. We just need to be able to fulfill all of the orders and the demand for the product, which is a great problem to have. But when you're wanting to scale aggressively and you've got ads that are firing and with a great cost per purchase, the last thing that you want is to run out of inventory. So that's going to be priority number one here. The next thing that I want to be focusing on is optimizing the conversion rate and the offer. Now with this amount of traffic for 48,000 sessions for the month, there's enough traffic here to do a ton of A/B testing. I see a lot of beginners just get a winning ad and product and then they just scale it up as fast as possible without doing any testing and then it dies out. And then they think, oh, well, my product is just dead or too saturated now, so they move on to the next thing. But in reality, you should be optimizing at all times, especially if you are gaining this much traffic onto your store. We're talking about testing new ad creatives, which I'm doing right now to prepare for scale. Also with the amount of traffic, it's great to test different offers to see which one converts better. Is 25% off better than $25 off? Is this upsell product converting more than the other upsell product that we were testing? Running these tests against each other, there will be a clear winner. It might not always be the second or third or fourth thing that you've tried. It might be the first one that actually just ended up being the best. The point is you need to continuously test to figure out these answers. Once you've got your baseline foundation down and you've got traffic and you've got sales, the last thing to do is optimize and you make more money on the back end with your profit margins. The next focus is that this is a brand. So we are going to be releasing different products, different variations, different sizes, different designs, building this out into a full-fledged brand here. So it's not just a one product drop shipping store. This is turning into a real brand, releasing new products all the time on the same format and template of the product. And try not to give away too many hints of what the product niche or type is. Stay tuned because after I break down the profit of this month, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about the brand itself. All right, so let's break down the profit because I get so so many comments online if I post anything and it's like $132,000, all of that's revenue and your profit margin is probably 2%. And I mean, to be fair, I bet some people online do that, but let's just break it down so we can show you. So the total sales for the month was $132,667. And as we saw earlier in the total ad spend, that was $28,705. So we'll subtract that from the total. In the cost of the goods sold, so the direct cost per unit of product, the total of it was $24,337. So we'll subtract that, 24,337. The Shopify fees in terms of like credit card processing, it's kind of hard to break down, which is really annoying, but on average in terms of like PayPal, Shopify, all those things, it's about $3 per order was the cost. So if you've got 1,626 orders times $3, that's $4,878. There's also obviously the shipping costs. So there was 1911 labels created, which isn't really fully for March because some February orders were fulfilled there too. But if we break down the average cost of the label, it's $5.90 per order. We can go back here and do 1626 orders times 5.9. And there were some returns at $2,324, but it's hard to calculate. With the return app, it nets out an exchange. It's all kind of like weird to calculate. Even if we're going based on, it's less than this, but even if we go based on this, it's minus $2,324. And then there's miscellaneous things that happen, or, you know, email marketing costs and things like that. But all of that's like well under $1,000. But even if we're just being conservative, I don't want to break down every single line item to the decimal because some people will comment and be like, oh, like when you were calculating your profit, you forgot about your app fees and charges for the month. And it's like, okay, yeah, out of $132,000, there was $65 in app fees. But I mean, I guess it is what it is. But let's just say it's all $1,000 for the rest of the things, including Shopify subscription and all that stuff. So that brings the total profit to $61,830.61. So out of 132,667, about 46% profit margin. So those are very, very healthy profit margins. And I think that there's a lot of room for growth in terms of optimization. And also just having some inventory in stock would be really helpful as well. Obviously a really profitable store and brand, which I am excited to be documenting for you guys, which I'll now be telling you about the brand. But the thing is, I'm not telling you about the brand in this video. So I'm actually going to be releasing a more of a documentary style series, kind of like a business vloggy type of series where I'm going to reveal the brand. You guys are going to see exactly the ad creatives that I'm testing, the profit margins, what it's like on a day-to-day basis. Pretty much everything about what is going on behind the scenes is going to be exposed in a little bit longer form of a video. Also in this series, it's going to be not just focusing only on this brand, but it's going to be focusing on everything that I do. So I'm going to be including all the other businesses that I run and have my hands in, like softwares and things like that, and just documenting the entire entrepreneurial journey, which is going to be super sick, I think, especially because I'm about to be traveling around the world for like the next 4 months starting in June. So it's going to be pretty sick to document. Make sure you guys are staying tuned for that, and let me know in the comments down below if that's the type of content that you guys want to see. I've been wanting to switch it up on YouTube for a while. I mainly post a lot of drop shipping content and tutorials, but I'm doing so much more than that. I've been in the space for 6 years. I've added so many different businesses and revenue streams into my portfolio. I think it'll be really cool to share that and show more in the day of the life of what I'm actually doing, not just only drop shipping and e-commerce. So I'm super stoked for that. I think it's gonna be a sweet series. You're gonna see what this brand is, I promise you. And so you don't miss out on it. And if it sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment if you're interested in that type of video, or if you got a question for me. I hope you guys like the breakdown and the transparency in this video. I can do more of these as well. I could do weekly ones. I could do monthly updates on top of that new business vlog type of series if you guys want that too. I hope that this video inspired you guys and gave you an inside look in what it's like mid-scaling of a brand. I just want you guys to know that all of this started 6 years ago just because I've watched a YouTube video on Shopify dropshipping. It's pretty crazy to still be doing e-commerce today. A lot of people in the space don't really actually run brands anymore, but I'm really happy to be able to share this journey with you guys. And I hope that you guys know that it really just takes starting something and sticking with it to completely change your life. If I didn't start 6 years ago and take the leap and just keep my head down and keep moving forward, I would not be here today. I would be in a cubicle somewhere working in a supply chain job. So super grateful for that. I want you guys to hear that. And if you're thinking about starting something, it doesn't have to be e-commerce or drop shipping. All I can say is stick with it and something will work out. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next video and I'll see you guys next time.